Club. Personally, and this is David Pickles speaking here, I am grateful to the Sheffield Club for the birth of a new era in our sport, and I have the most, or utmost, admiration for Alex Dampier, his team and the fans. I am totally impartial. I'm sorry about this, it looks as written by a 5-year-old. Next time I will read any input from Nottingham more carefully, exclamation mark. As we know, this is not the first time this has happened. It's happened on a couple of other occasions. I'm also indebted to LD Foster. Let me just remind you of the phone number, by the way, while I'm plowing through the bits of paper in front of me. 0114-268-2222 is the number for you to call us on the Iceline tonight if you want to say your piece ahead of tomorrow night's game against the Cardiff Devils. 17 minutes past 7. We'll be going to our 7:30 kickoffs in just a moment, so get your calls in nice and early if you would. From Mr. LD Foster, who says, who is it that demonstrated it was possible to attract over 10,000 people to watch a domestic game of ice hockey? The Sheffield Steelers, and of course this occurs and is very much appropriate to all the things that are said there. Who was it that helped to break the attendance record at Wembley in the past 2 years by bringing almost 1,500 supporters? The Sheffield Steelers. Who was it that took just over 800 well-behaved ice hockey supporters to Tilburg? You know the form on that one, and etc, etc. And I think Mr. LD Foster of Waterthorpe has laid that on with a trowel, and if Mr. Pickles is under any illusion about the strength of feeling around the Steel City, then I think he knows precisely how people feel. 0114-268-2222 is the number that you need to call for the Iceline. Andre Malo is in the hot seat alongside Rob Wilson. I'm sure you want to wish them luck and all the best for the big game tomorrow night. Without trying to give them too much of a mental or psychological advantage here, Cardiff, not that they'll be listening hopefully tonight unless they've come up early to stay in a hotel. What are the strengths, Rob, that the Cardiff Devils have that you'll be wary of and trying to counteract tomorrow night?
Well, I think both Andre and I will be keen in on their forwards, you know, as being defensemen and stuff. I mean, they've got great firepower up front. They got the big line. I think they call it the Legion of Doom or whatever they're all about. You know, Mike Ware's about 6'5", and Randy Smith's about 6'4", and Ivan Matulix, who played here, everyone knows him, very strong skater, and is about 6'2". So that's, I think, their big line. And they've got the Morier, Cooper, and McEwen line as their second line, and then they got Smale and a new guy and Francis on the third line. So they've got three really strong lines, just like we do, and I think that's where all their big guns come from. I think we're going to try and maybe try and work on some of their defense. We're not sure if they're as strong as maybe ours is, and we're going to try and exploit a few places.
They seem to be a very different side on the road from what they are at home. I suppose that applies to most teams in the league, but them especially.
I think,
do you not agree?
Well, I think every team, you know, you feel comfortable playing at home, and you know, it's a very tough place to win in Cardiff, and just like it's a very tough place to win in Sheffield. You know, you get your fans behind you, it makes a huge difference. You know, I think they're going to come in tomorrow. I don't think home ice advantage will come into it, to be honest. I mean, it's just going to be an all-out, you know, battle tomorrow night, and hopefully we'll be victorious, and confident we will be.
What kind of effect will a capacity crowd, and we're talking here temporary seating and just about every seat, well, I know every seat is solved tomorrow night. What kind of effect does that have on the overall atmosphere and how it transmits itself to the players on the ice?
Well, I think it's going to be, you know, great. I mean, it's going to be a good atmosphere. It's going to be like electricity in the air and all that, and the guys will be up for it. But at the end of the day, the guys will be so concentrated on the game that, you know, it could be like one person out there or 10,000. You're just so much concentrated on what you're doing out there that, I mean, obviously, you know, if you're down a goal or two, the crowd gets into it, you know, it pumps you up and all that. But guys will be so up for the game that it'd be like if there's nobody out there.
0114-268-2222, 0114-268-2222 is your line through to the Sheffield Steelers. Andre Malo and Rob Wilson tonight talking about tomorrow night's game against Cardiff, and if we have time between now and quarter to 8, we'll also look ahead to the game against the Newcastle Warriors this weekend. It's Radio Sheffield, it's Tuesday night sport. We're here at St Andrews for the game between Birmingham City and Barnsley. It's going to be a game that hopefully Barnsley will be able to extend their unbeaten record in the league. At the moment they're unbeaten in 7 league games, and Birmingham City, if memory serves, have not won a league game at St Andrews during the course of 1996 so far. We have some Blues team news which we will bring you shortly. We're off to Millmoor in just a moment for the game between Rotherham United and Bournemouth, or a preview of it. 7:30 kick-off there at Millmoor. Hartlepool United against Doncaster Rovers is taking place in the northeast. You may be rather surprised to hear that after the bad weather that's been sweeping the country over the last couple of days, but that game has survived. At a 7:45 start it is at Bramall Lane for the game between Sheffield United and West Bromwich Albion. Let's see if we can go to Millmore then. Reminding you, the Iceline will remain open for another 10-15 minutes or so for you to get your calls through. At the risk of repetition, here comes that number again for late tuners on. 01142682222 is the number to call. 01142682222. Just before we go to Neil at Millmore, I've just received the team news for both sides, so let's have a look down the Barnsley lineup, and a quick scan through it tells me no real surprises here. Owen Archdeacon is suspended, so he won't be playing tonight. Darren Sheridan is. His brother John for Birmingham City will be on the substitutes bench, so the 1 to 11 for Barnsley just received by us. In goal, David Watson. Nicky Eden will wear 2. Peter Shirtliff 3. Martin Bullock gets a start from Danny Wilson. I'm pleased to see that personally. 5, Steve Davis. Ariane Dezieu will wear 6. Andy Little 7. Neil Redfern is 8. 9 is Brendan O'Connell. He's got Andy Payton down as captain tonight. That's very interesting because Neil Redfern is the club captain. I think that may possibly be a misprint on the sheet of paper we received from the press office downstairs. Check that one out for you later. Charlie Bishop is back in contention. He's been out of contention for some time. He's on the subs bench. And with there being no Lee Butler, of course, Adam Sollett is the substitute goalkeeper, and Glyn Hurst gets in at 14. So a couple of names that have not had a run-out or even a sniff at an appearance for Barnsley of late are perhaps going to get a look in tonight. The Birmingham City side, Steve Claridge is in there, which is very interesting because there are all sorts of possible transfer speculation regarding him. We'll come on to that a little later on because the Birmingham City saga could take quite a while to unravel. We are going to go to 2 of our other featured football matches tonight. 7:30 kickoffs, and despite a flurry of snow of sorts around South Yorkshire, I'm glad to say the game has survived at Millmore. It's Rotherham United against Bournemouth, and we say good evening to Neil Davis.
Yes, good evening, Bob. Very much on here. And well, after a successful run of 8 games without defeat, in which they reached the northern final of the Auto Windscreen Shield, Rotherham suffered their first setback in 9 and their first loss of 96 at Bristol Rovers on Saturday. Their cause wasn't helped by an accident to Matt Clark, but he's back in goal tonight. But the danger of not having a goalkeeper amongst 3 substitutes was perfectly illustrated. They have one tonight, and many Millers fans will be mightily relieved to see Clark back between the sticks. On the downside, Sean Goodwin misses out after pulling a hamstring in training yesterday. His place up front goes to Andy Hayward, with Ian McLean returning at the back and Neil Richardson being rested. So the Rotherham lineup is as follows: Matt Clark in goal, a back 4 of Paul Blades, Gary Bowyer, Ian McLean and Ian Breckin. In midfield, Darren Garner, Trevor Berry, Andy Roscoe. Hayward, we're not sure whether he'll play up front or in midfield, but he could be alongside Nigel Jameson and Sean Goater. On the bench, Paul Hurst, Steve Farrelly and Nick Viljam. Bournemouth, they're unchanged. They won the first meeting between these 2 sides by 2 goals to 1 earlier in the season. They're just outside the playoff zone. They're 10th on 41 points, but if the Millers can get their victory bandwagon back on tracks tonight, then it could be they who are challenging for a playoff spot.
That's Neil Davis reporting from Millmore on the game between Rotherham United and Bournemouth. 7:30 kick-off there, and up in the northeast, quite wintry there also, but this game goes ahead, and Doncaster Rovers looking to climb back into a playoff position if they can win at Hartlepool. To see whether they can or not, we've sent Alan Smith.
Good evening to you, Bob. Yes, Hartlepool, unfortunately, we're in the press box. There is no power tonight. Thankfully, we've got the telephones on, so that's the main thing. And equally, thankfully, we can see from the reflection from the floodlights on the Victoria ground. So that I don't think will cause a problem throughout the evening. Rovers, of course, trying to go just the one better than they did on Saturday. You recall it was a 0-0 home draw with Plymouth Argyle. Despite that blank score sheet, it was quite an entertaining game, and really, I think a draw at the end of the day was just about a fair scoreline. Tonight, as you say, they're at Hartlepool, looking for yet another double. Back in September, it was a goal from Steve Brodie, who at that time was on loan from Sunderland, was enough to give Rovers a 1-0 win over the Hartlepool side. Now, if Rovers are to do it tonight, I have to say they'll have to do it without their top scorer, Graham Jones. He was injured on Saturday. He has not made the squad tonight, but back into contention, in fact, back into the lineup, is Colin Cram, who missed last Saturday's match against Plymouth Argyle with a hip injury. The full Rovers side then, Perry Suckling in goal. Matt Carmichael back in the squad, wears number 2, although I don't really think he will play as an out-and-out defender or an out-and-out full-back. Sean Parrish at 3, 4 Darren Moore, Scott Colcombe at 5, 6 is Lee Warren, 7 John Schofield, Gary Brabin the skipper at 8, 9 Ryan Kirby, Colin Cram, as I say, back in, he wears the 10 shirt, Mike Smith at 11, and the substitutes, all outfield substitutes, Stuart Doling, Ian Clark and Scott Maxfield, and the referee, Mr Fraser Stretton, he's made an even longer journey than Doncaster Rovers. He's from West Bridgeford in Notts.
Alan Smith is our man there, and hope on a rather chilly and frozen night in the northeast that power is restored, or at least somebody lights up the candle of Doncaster Rovers so they can get a win away from home, because they desperately need some points as they're slipping away from contention in the relegation zone. Radio Sheffield's Tuesday night sport. We're coming live from St Andrews, the home of Birmingham City. Just looking around the crowd that's filtering in. It's not going to be a big crowd tonight. I'm not surprised because it's a pretty perishing cold, parky night in the West Midlands. It's not very pleasant at all, and I'm glad to say that hopefully once the game is underway we'll be able to shut a little door here. We'll be kept in some sort of comfort and warm in our commentary box here at Birmingham City while the rest of our press colleagues freeze out in the cold. At least we have a little bit of sanctity with some glass in front of us and the door to shut, which we will do between now and the 7:45. We'll bring you full match commentary on the game between Barnsley and Birmingham City. And I know lots of you are on your way to the Holiday Inn tonight to get involved in all the things surrounding Selma Odeline's testimonial. Very worthy course. Hope you enjoy yourselves down there. But before you do, give us a call. 01142682222 is the number to call. A couple of things just to clear up if I can. Andre, with you to start off with. David Longstaff missed out on quite a bit of the game on Sunday. What's the injury report on him?
Well, I think he's he's suffering from a shoulder injury at the moment, and which was made worse in practice last week. But he's getting treatment, and obviously he stayed away from the ice today, and he'd probably be fit for tomorrow night.
Any concern at the moment about Tony Hand's form? Now, as always, he supplies the assist, but Tony's only scored 1 goal in 4, which by his previous record this season is pretty small fare for him.
I think, you know, the team would be worried if he wasn't getting any chances on that, but at the same time, he's providing chances for a lot of guys out there, even though he's not scoring himself, and he's getting the chance himself to score. And unfortunately for him, that last 3-4 games, they haven't gone in. But at the same time, you know, he's playing his normal game. He's getting open for the guys, and he's making a lot of good passes and a lot of good opportunities for other guys. And, you know, at the same time, the other guys are scoring and picking up the slack. I mean, you know, the Sheffield Steelers not about just one guy or 2 guys. They're about a whole team. And, you know, it's good that when a guy like Tony Hand does go through a mini slump like this, other guys pick it up.
Now, we've been talking about injury problems. We mentioned on Friday, or you did in your conversation with Simon Clark, about your finger. Is that on the mend? Is that healing up?
Well, obviously, playing with a broken finger now, it takes about 6 weeks, and it might take longer because it's, you know, with playing with it constantly. But, you know, I mean, there's a lot of guys on the team that have got niggling injuries, you know, bad hands and bad shoulders and bad knees and all this. But, I mean, they're out there every week, you know, doing the business, and it doesn't matter how hurt you are and all that. You just go out there and try to help the team as best you can.
01142682222, your line to the Sheffield Steelers, and about another 5 minutes or so for you to get through and talk to them. I think it's high time we saw a Rob Wilson blaster, isn't it? It's been a few games now since you cracked the back of the net.
Yeah, well, I scored away from home there in Basingstoke, but yeah, I haven't been maybe scoring quite as much. Kenny set me up beautifully against Basingstoke at home there, but the goalie made a good save, and then he did it again the next night against Slough. Sent me all alone, and Charlie Cullen came along and made a big save on me. So, you know, I was hoping maybe to get one there, but hopefully I can maybe get one tomorrow. That's when it'll be count.
Quite a few of the fans over the last couple of weeks, both on the Iceline and when I've been talking to them at the arena, have been talking about the way that Alex and Clyde are changing the lines around and mixing and matching at the moment. What is your view on how things are working out, and have you sort of discovered things you didn't expect to find when you, when they started to change the personnel around a bit?
Well, I mean, you know, we had some games there that I think they figured they could try a few different combinations against, and as far as I know, I think everything's going back to normal for tomorrow night's game. I mean, you know, you have an advantage to do things against maybe some of the bottom place clubs, and they were just trying out new things before we go into our, you know, major run here and then the playoffs.
Okay, before we go to Bramall Lane, and Alan Biggs is waiting to bring us the team news on the Sheffield United West Bromwich Albion game. Let's go back to the phones. I don't think it's Mrs. Dampier, but she is called Sally. Good evening, Sally.
Good evening.
How are you?
All right.
Good. Are you on your way to the Holiday Inn?
No.
You're having a quiet night in, are you?
Yeah.
Saving all your energy for tomorrow night?
Yeah.
You'll be there?
Yeah.
Which block? You know where you've got your ticket now, do you? But you will be there?
Yeah.
Screaming and shouting and generally carrying on?
Yeah.
Okay, you have a question for Andre or for Rob?
Yeah.
Okay, far away. What's your question?
I hope they have a good night. I hope they win tomorrow.
Right. What do you think the chances of them winning tomorrow night are?
10-1.
You think they're pretty good?
Yeah.
Okay, who's your favourite player?
Andre.
All right. Do you want to talk to him?
Yes, please.
Here he is.
Hello, Sally.
Hi, Andre.
How you doing?
All right.
So you're going to be at the game tomorrow night?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll have a good game for you, and we'll come out with a positive result and have a win for you.
Yeah.
Dare I ask you, Sally, why Andre is your favourite player? You're looking a little bashful on me now. Why is Andre your favourite player?
It's nice.
Is that it? There's quite a few nice players on the Sheffield Steelers
I know,
team. Rob Wilson's quite nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm
And
nice.
this
So he
Tommy.
tells me anyway. So he keeps saying. Thank you for your call, Sally.
Okay.
Have a good one tomorrow night. Enjoy yourself. 0114-268-2222 is your line to the very nice Andre Malo and the equally nice and approachable Rob Wilson. 0114-268-2222. Back to you gentlemen in just a couple of moments to wrap things up before we let you go to the Holiday Inn and enjoy the excitement down there. We have one other very important football match taking place involving our local teams. The Sheffield United revival is on the up and up. Still not getting as many wins as they would like, but only losing one so far under the guidance of Howard Kendall. Tonight they face another West Midlands team. We're in Birmingham. West Brom have made the journey to South Yorkshire, and watching that game at Bramall Lane for us is Alan Biggs.
Good evening, Bob, from a freezing Bramall Lane, and not as many wins as they would like, not as many fans as they would like coming here to watch this new Sheffield United. Signs of another disappointing crowd this evening, but the weather will be a factor in that. But crowds have hovered around the 10,000 mark here, which has not really been an accurate reflection on the enterprise that's been shown within the club over that period. And certainly Howard Kendall will be hoping for another victory here, the third in succession at Bramall Lane, to lift those crowd statistics. Well, the other details tonight, well, firstly, the pitch looks absolutely perfectly playable, or as perfect as it could be in the circumstances. The undersoil heating has done its job. It looks a firm surface with plenty of give in it. And the team news, Roger Nielsen is expected, is missing with a groin injury suffered in the match at Charlton on Saturday. And interesting changes apart from that by Howard Kendall. He's left out Gordon Cowans. Cowans demoted to the bench tonight. Certainly I don't think we've seen him at his best yet for Sheffield United. Very creative player, not as involved in the matches that I've seen as maybe the club would like him to be at this stage, and that maybe is reflected in the fact that he's on the bench tonight, with Brett Angel brought in up front, the on-loan striker from Sunderland, who's had to sit out the past couple. He's had a hip injury, he's well over that. But the other point about bringing Angel in alongside Carl Viet up front is that it releases Don Hutchison to play in what Kendall believes is his best position, a deep-lying role going forward from midfield. So he's moved back there this evening with Angel coming in. So the full Sheffield United lineup is Alan Kelly in goal, 2 Chris Short, 3 Mitch Ward, 4 Mark Patterson, 5 Michael Vonk, 6 David Tuttle, 7 David White, 8 Carl Viet, 9 Brett Angel, 10 Don Hutchison, 11 Dane Whitehouse, who was left out of the starting lineup on Saturday. He's also been short of his best form. Maybe that was a little spur and the jolt that he needed. The substitutes tonight, Doug Hodgson, Simon Tracy, a goalkeeping sub, and Gordon Cowans, who's denied a full-scale reunion with his old Aston Villa teammate of many years standing, Nigel Spink, another veteran on view tonight. He's in the West Bromwich Albion goal in what for them is an unchanged lineup. West Brom a couple of points adrift of United in second from bottom spot. United just above them, looking to climb above the bottom 3. Albion really on a wretched run in contrast to United. 1 win in the last 17. They've lost 13 of the last 16. They're unchanged from what was an encouraging performance in a draw with Tranmere on Saturday, and the most notable name on the team sheet is their captain and striker, Bob Taylor, who of course was the main transfer target, or at least the main striker target of Howard Kendall some weeks ago, but didn't even want to consider the move after a fee had been agreed with West Brom. So there's your lineups, and the referee tonight, Eddie Wolstenholme, who's travelled from Blackburn.
Alan Biggs is at Bramall Lane watching the game between Sheffield United and West Bromwich Albion. That's a 7:45 start, as is this one at St Andrews. Full match commentary on Barnsley against Birmingham City, or Birmingham City against Barnsley, getting the location a bit right in the first place, coming up at 7:45. So finally with the boys on the Iceline, before we let you depart, I know neither of you are particularly great on predictions, but I want you to change the habit of a lifetime, and just let me know what your thoughts are on what sort of a game it's going to be tomorrow night, and what you think we know what you hope the outcome is going to be. What sort of margin? Tight game, low scoring, high scoring, shootout? What sort of game do you expect?
Personally, I think it's going to be a very tight game. I think I think it'll be a fairly low scoring game. They've got a lot of firepower, but so do we. But I think both teams are going to be, tentative and not want to take a lot of risk. And, it's, as everybody knows, it's such an important game. So I think it'll be very entertaining, very exciting. And I'm not going to give a score, but I'm very confident, and I'm not saying it, I mean it. I'm very confident we'll come out victorious.
Okay, Andre, I'm sure you will echo those sentiments. You have any disagreement with Rob on his thoughts on the tactics and the way the game's going to shape up tomorrow?
Not at all. I think it's exactly the way it's going to shape up. It's going to be a tight defensive game, and even though both teams, like Rob said, have got a lot of scoring guys out there, but it's just going to be a tight game, and hopefully, like Rob said, we're going to be victorious on the night.
Okay, thank you, Rob. Thank you, Andre, for coming in tonight. We wish you all the very best, of course, and the whole match will be live on BBC Radio Sheffield. If you can't get to the game itself, don't worry. You'll hear every hit of the puck. I'm glad to say I'm going to be joined in the commentary box tomorrow night by Selma Odeline, if he's recovered from tonight, and also the Queen's Road escapades of his side from Saskatchewan, and also the youngsters in Sheffield. So that's tomorrow night, 8 o'clock face-off. Programme as always starts at 7, preceded by the basketball with the Sheffield Sharks. All right, let's turn our attention now towards football. And the reason that we're here